everybody. Welcome back. We have an amazing interviewee today, our amazing and my amazing friend, Rosanna Arquette. She's such an incredible woman who's done an infinite amount of amazing films over the years. We kind of started our career at a very similar time.
Yes.
We actually have some cross things that we did over the years ago, but
Yeah.
she has been, you've been in the public eye like me pretty much your entire life, right?
Since young. Yeah.
You were young, since you're a really young girl, and you're I admire you so much because you've reinvented yourself a million times. You continue to work and you make yourself relevant, not like you're trying to make yourself relevant. You make yourself relevant because you care about things that are important in the world. And Melissa and I are super excited to talk to you about the things that really kind of, open your heart and that you feel are important in the world and that people need to pay attention to. One of the things that I like to talk about. First of all, I want to kind of talk about what makes you passionate and what makes you keeps your curiosity going, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah. It does. Then thank you so much. Thank you for the beautiful introduction. That makes me feel very good. I've been feeling really not so good these days. And I think we're in a collective depression, sadness, anxiety, fear. We were shut in for a long time. And then, I think it was a time where either people got through it great or didn't. Like, I think a lot of people's stuff came up when we were having to be put into this situation of just isolation and shut out the world. But then on here becomes the way you're connecting with everybody. And in that, we're seeing it's sort of like I did my podcast in that time because I felt like it was like we're curious about other people and interested in other people. And so I've always done that. And I have these documentaries that I did years ago, just Searching for Debra Winger and All We Are Saying, which is about musicians, because I like to interview people and hear about their lives and how they balance their life with their art. But in this time of isolation, for me, it was truly challenging. And you could see how we got a whole generation of kids online of this whole weird new online porn stuff that people were not really having to deal with were popping up on kids' schoolwork, and it was like, and it was just like, what is happening here? And now we've got this in our business that we're in, the entertainment business, a writer's strike because AI. I literally woke up in the middle of the night. I know this sounds, I woke up and went, AI is the Antichrist. I just feel like there's a darkness to this that's actually super frightening. In medical, it's great and all that, but when it comes to the entertainment industry and what artists have always done, which a lot of them, it can be revolutionary and open people's minds to other ways of thinking, art, music, film, and this is a way to control that, and it worries me very much. And so in this time of isolation, my passions were towards always being able to work, but I wasn't really working like I was in a marriage that I am now out of. And it was, I wasn't able to, in that relationship, to really do my work, go away for long periods of time because it wasn't healthy for the marriage. So that was a choice that I made in that time, but it wasn't the right choice for my being. It wasn't a good choice for my soul. And it wasn't a good person for me to be able to be me. And, and God bless. And you learn your lessons when people come in your life and you get to learn those lessons. Mm-hmm. And you get to see, wow, okay. And God, and it's all God bless and goodbye. But it was a really, you could see it during the shutdown and pandemic of being locked in full force. And in that time, I really learned so much about myself, who I am. So that was the positive thing that came out of it. But I'm struggling right now in a feeling, you know, wow, my life has really, really changed. And I've always done, work has always been my church, my temple, my go-to, that's where creativity, not just creativity is always, and you can always be creative, always, without being on films or do any of that. So I'm trying to keep that up. But I found myself in this, it's very interesting, perfect timing when we talk about mental health, because I'm not on antidepressants, but I've been really sad. And I'm a super, super empath. So I take on people's energy. And that, when I really got that, and I think we're all kind of struggling with the PTSD of the last few years. But I was really diagnosed with, you have PTSD, really real PTSD. And I think it started in the last, we're coming up to 6 years of the Me Too movement, which was, was part of, because of putting Harvey Weinstein in jail with many other women, coming out that, all about that. And a lot of real attacking energy within our industry for even standing up and doing that, and being, you think that it almost made things worse, in some ways, even though I wouldn't change it. But in terms of the industry, a lot of people still protect him and protect the predators. So that was just like, wow, you're not. And then we're seeing our rights being whittled away, women's rights we've had all these years. It's really that's overwhelmingly scary. And I found myself really exhausted. So I need to get off the Twitter, get off the speaking out all the time, which I will always speak out. But in fact, somebody just sent me a super beautiful, sweet fan in France, gorgeous person who's kind of collects all these things. And she found the Saturday Night Live that I hosted years ago. And it opens, it's there. It opens with me talking about, polluting our oceans and the air and the environment. And I'm talking about all this political stuff. It opens with me, saying about nuclear weapons that at the time, I think Reagan was our president, was involved with them. I couldn't say his name, but I mean, it was just, that's always been what I've done. And I've always done it, and I was really, that was kind of a gift. It was a great gift, actually, to see, I always came from that. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, I think, but it all connects in some way. It's what you asked me was about, what am I passionate about? So I am passionate about creativity, being creative, and also activism that helps other human beings thrive and live in this world that we're in now.
100%. Would you say that your passion for work, would you say that not being able to do that because of the shutdown, because of writer strikes and all the other stuff, would you say that is part of the cause of keeping you low and depressed?
Yes.
Unable to express your creativity?
Yes. To having, signed up for that in the past relationship, which was in order for the marriage to work, it wasn't going to work if I would go off and do a movie for 6 months somewhere. It just doesn't work, and so I thought, well, I've been doing this for so many years, but then what was happening was just I'm feeling wow, I'm not, I definitely am really okay by myself. And I know that if I ever have a partner again, which I'm not really banking on at this point in life, they would really have to like love what I do and want to be, like, and have it be, like, okay. So, it's just, and it's just the way it turned out. And it's really, really sad. And I'm grieving the loss of, another failed marriage, like, and it feels really bad to how, and it gives you a point. Okay, so what is my part? What did I do? And that's the really great thing about when you have time to be on your own and explore your past, your childhood, your traumas. God knows we've had huge traumas in our lives, and everybody has them in some way, shape, or form. And mine was definitely, this divorce triggered deeply more than anything I've gone through in a long time.
A lot of the work that you do in your activism is so respected, and so and in spite of whatever outside pressure has been coming on you to just keep your mouth closed and be a good girl,
Yeah.
say nothing, do nothing, take the pink hat off your head and just be a good girl, keep your ankles crossed. There's a lot of that pressure coming in on women always. And you've always been seen as someone who's willing to stand up in the face of whatever it is. You just shared with what a fan had shared with you you did on SNL. To today, you're still doing stuff. I read about you speaking up, and I respect it so heavily. But seeking the truth is a massive concept. And it's an elusive concept. And you mentioned AI earlier. Recently, Mariel and I had a guest on who leverages AI for businesses. And I had this burning question of, well, where does trust come in? When you can't trust what the eyes are seeing or what the ears are hearing, where does trust come in? And you talked about the Writers Guild and the music industry. And it brings to mind that Biggie Big's family is fighting for his image to not be utilized to make new music because they have enough words of his interviews. And Justine Bateman just came out with this great
incredible
retort.
article. Thank you,
Right.
Justine.
Oh yeah, she did a great job on that, and it really brought to
She's
light.
right. That's
She's
what's that.
absolutely right.
It is decimating us. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I want to know from you, in seeking the truth, because it's such an elusive, massive concept. How do you stay on track? Because there's a lot coming at us, and your mind is moving, and you can feel it. You can feel the energy through the camera. For our audience on the radio who can't see Rosanna, you can feel your energy. You've got a lot to do. Our walk on this planet is minimal. No, even if we live to be 130, it's still not enough time. So how do you pack it all in? And at what point in your life did you determine that this was something that you were going to do? When did you wake up to your seeking of truth?
I was born into it. I did fortunately have a mother, even though there was a lot of dysfunction, and she ended up becoming a therapist for abused women, but she herself was abused as a child. So she, worked through a lot of that with the children, and I'm the eldest. So I got a lot of that growing up, which was abuse, and then, but healed that, continued to heal that. And with her before she died, for sure, forgiveness and healing. And I think that, it's said, it's like, it's to be very conscious daily about working, not to have resentment.
Yeah.
And because resentment, there was, and not to say that I'm perfect at that, because there's moments by the way, before I just went on here, I was feeling all this stuff. So I met this really, I am very attracted to healers and people who work in the healing arts that are the real deal. I mean, I know Howard Wills is a healer in France, in Hawaii. And I really, really love this guy, Oliver Nino, who's the spiritual activator. He'd be worth talking to. He's actually wonderful. And he kind of suggested, because a lot of stuff was coming up for me this weekend. I was going, what's happening? What is happening with me this weekend? That I'm feeling, that was like the holiday weekend. I'm by myself with my daughter's cat that I've had for 2 years. I'm like, am I Eleanor Rigby? What's going on? But I was able to write this letter and he had said, suggested writing this letter and burning it, which is a good thing to do when you have this, just to get it out and burn it, which I did, literally 5 minutes before I went on this, just to
nice.
just to be clear. And even though it's like remnants of it, but just to have, it's walking around in resentment stops us from being able to really love and be able to be in our truth, because we're stuck in this energy that's kind of toxic, is toxic and dark.
Oh yeah.
And learning to be in acceptance, learning that I do feel like everything does happen for the greatest good, ultimately for us. We're in this time, experiencing this time right now. And wherever anybody is at politically, we've gone so far away from just like whatever's going just in the government, it's gotten so insane. And I feel frightened for my daughter, Mariel's children and granddaughter, like the next generation coming up. But yet next generation are so much smarter than we were, I'm meeting some young voters that are just like, and they're motivated, and they're, of course, that's why they want to change the voting thing to 25 now, because, because they're threatened and they know. Sure. And, that this is not okay, what's happening. And if we can at least be kind, and why I got off Twitter, which was a huge forum and town square that at the time we would never have had the Me Too movement without it. And so it was very, very important at that time. And now, once he came in and took it over, clearly right before the midterms, to dismantle democracy or whatever, and all we now have is a huge, I'm not on it anymore, but basically a Nazi porn site. It's just filled with hate, and that energy was starting to really get so toxic, and that I just finally, with the midterms, right that night after, I just got off. And it was interesting, like because I was so used to being able to express myself, and I think that was part of not being able to have my creativity, being able to just connect with. I've connected with some incredible people, and then some very people that just, threatening to kill you and stuff. You got to send it to the FBI or something. But I am really grateful that I'm off it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And don't want to in any way be in a toxic pool that is bringing more negativity in the world and to me.
Yeah, that's incredible. I feel very similarly, in the sense that I only post, and Melissa and I can probably agree on this, we only post like good things. I don't inflame people. I don't want to inflame people. I'm not as courageous as you are socially and speaking out in that way. But I also feel that we have a responsibility to put goodness in the world, because there is so much hate and there is so much darkness, and there's so much stuff that you can go down this rabbit hole. And it's like technology itself. It just takes you in this spiral. It just wants you to go down. But by trying to, or not even trying, but making sure that your life is about being kind, about being loving, about sharing the good, sharing your story, but sharing it. What are you doing that's helping you to move forward, helping you to find that grace, to find that sense of, I forgive myself. I take responsibility, but also there's great joy in, I'm very lucky. Yesterday, I got to see my granddaughter. Oh my God.
Yeah, I love it so much.
It was so, but I mean, those are the moments that I'm reminded that's what has to be important. That's what you have to fill and I think as we get older, yes, you stay engaged, but you do it with a sense of responsibility, with a sense of limitation, with a sense that you don't, because I think when you go down that rabbit hole, you take a lot of people with you. But if you
Yes, yes.
go down a different hole, or
Yeah.
maybe it's not a hole, it's an expansion, then
Yeah.
everybody can change with you in good, don't you think? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, energetically, especially if you're in that state and you're in, yeah, the Twitter thing was, and some of my activism in that time, before I got divorced, was not a great time, and I think that energetically it was dark, there was a lot of darkness too, even though you're trying to do something that is good. There's that you can see the people there that just don't want that out there. And so coming from kindness right now is like a daily practice. And I'm mostly really good at it, but not to myself. And that's what I'm working at. Like that's the thing, is like I'm beating myself up so much, like, why am I punishing myself constantly? It's like, it's just ridiculous. And so, yeah, trying to make myself every day, I go and I do work, I go to Pilates, and I'm trying to move, and I eat really well. Those, all the little things that are like the things that if you can do that, and I have a lot to be grateful for, even though it's been a real challenge, and not having the homes that I lived in and all that stuff, and worrying about the future, and just trying to stay in this moment right now. And there's a lot of wisdom in that, when people say, well, just stay in the moment, It's like, but it's true. The power of now is real. There's wisdom in that, if you can do it. And I have to remind myself constantly.
I think we as women have mastered the art of taking care of everyone else in the room before ourselves. And hearing you admit that and saying, look, now I'm trying. And I would venture to say you're not trying. It sounds like you're doing it. So you're doing it. You're stepping into this. It's time for me now to take care of myself. And what that does, I've witnessed in energy, is that witnessing people witnessing you do it gives them permission to do it themselves. So hats off to you. It's not an easy task, and it's not something we often think of first, but it's vital. It's vital to your next step.
Yes. And I just had literally, and I mean, it just sounds like, I don't know, I don't even want to, I mean, I moved out of 4 homes, and this, like, the fact that I even had 4 homes, I actually only had one that was mine, that I owned. So it was, actually my husband's homes, but I had to sell that too. And that was my house, and that, which was really painful for me. It was a huge loss, and it represented, I know, like, people are going through that right now. And so, like, to honor these feelings of, in order for me to, I wasn't able to afford this house that I got when I was 28 and paid cash for, and was doing really well. So it was this symbol of, like, my success and my work, and I own this. And so, then through the years, I took out some extra loans to put my daughter through a good education. Like, I did all these things that you do. That's what we do, as people, that, that's life. But then when I got to this position where, like, I've been hanging on to, it was up in Big Sur, and the storms were happening and stuff, and it was just, it was so overwhelming, and I couldn't afford to take care of it anymore in the way that it needed and deserved, because it was a lovely, beautiful space, and great things came out of that place. A few years ago, I went on a road trip with Jane Fonda and Catherine Keener, and Jane came up with her Fire Joe Fridays and the environmental protesting in DC, in my house in Big Sur, which was such a beautiful experience of 5 days of watching her. I filmed her, like, talking about it, and calling Greenpeace, at Annie Leonard at Greenpeace, and just formulating this incredible movement, which is her passion in life. And we all are on board with it, right? I know you are, Mariel. And so I had to sell it. And on February 14th, Valentine's Day, I was supposed to go up, get my stuff, bring it down, and I got pneumonia, lungs, grief. I got pneumonia and RVS. Like, I was really sick. And I think that was grief.
Oh, yes. Oh,
It was
Oh,
huge,
yeah.
and it just came up, and it was like, I was like, and so I couldn't go out there and say goodbye to it. I had my person went, and like friend of mine who did all these moves for me. Thank you, God. I pay her, of course, and she went up and handled it and brought my stuff. I said, just take it. I mean, it was just wow. And I know so many people are going through that right now.
Yeah,
Like, people.
I saw the day that you sold it.
Yeah.
And both Bobby and Bobby pulled me over. He saw it first and he was heartbroken and said, do we call? I was like, maybe we don't.
Oh my
It
was horrible.
I know.
I
I
want to
just
tell
was
you
like,
something.
wow.
In feng shui, when you have issues with the lungs, when you can't be touched on the chest because it's sensitive, or if you have any kind of lung issue, that's all related to grief.
Yeah.
And it's related to deep-rooted fear. And so that makes perfect sense. Although I'm sad and I'm sorry, but it makes perfect sense energetically.
But thank you. You're right. And that's what I knew. I knew instantly that's what I was in grief. I knew that this was like so huge for me. And I think that I was being protected because I don't know if I could have actually survived that part of it, like going, actually seeing and saying goodbye. So now I just know, I can see it. It's beautiful. The people who bought it are redoing it exactly what I would have loved to have done. And, it's a really special place. And I was really blessed to have it for as long as I did. And I wish I didn't have to sell it, but I did. And I, paid off my debts and, and that was a great thing. So yay. And I'm grateful for that. And then like the storms started happening and they had the worst storms were in Big Sur. And
right.
Yes. Yeah. And so a lot of damage happened. So I was really like, oh my God, thank you, God, that I sold it.
No, we're always protected. It's so funny. We think, we fight, we hold on, we think we know, right? And there's always this greater plan, but it doesn't mean that it feels good. Because I mean, for me, looking back on that house, because Bobby and I went up there, we went up to your house. It was like, this goes on his house. And I was like, oh my God. It still is, but yeah, you were.
Well, it's going to be great now that they fix it up. It really needed to be worked on. And I was in I hadn't gone up there in a really long time. I just, and I used to spend so much time up there, but my past relationship, that wasn't something that was in the cards really.
Who knows what doors that has opened up for you? I mean, you just don't know. Right.
No.
I mean, as painful as it is, but through that darkness, it's like the sludge below the lotus flower.
Yes.
This beauty. And you don't know what it is until you just open to, like you were saying, you open to the present moment, as goofy as it sounds, but that's the only place that you can actually be okay. Because when we're attached to what happened, 6 months ago, 6 years ago, 60 years ago, for us, it's difficult. We can't be that old, are we?
Well, I think I'm older than you.
Oh, by a minute, like a couple of years, but not much.
But it's just, can you believe it? Like
oh my God,
we're still standing. That's the Elton John song. I'm still standing.
I don't know about you, but I imagine, I feel like this is the beginning of my life. I really do. I feel like great things are about to happen. I'm not really sure what those great things are. I'm not completely sure, but I can tell you that I don't know. I feel really excited about the future.
Yay.
And because I'm excited about now. So I don't know. So I'm pushing that over to you. Yes.
Well, this is good that you're doing this. I'm excited for you because I know this has been your wheelhouse for a long time, especially talking about, things like mental health and how people get through their stuff. And I'm excited for you and Bobby. Both of you you were in Idaho for.
We were in Idaho for 2 years. Yeah, we were in Idaho for 2 years because because it was crazy. Yeah. And we left our house. We left a house that we loved.
I loved that house.
Oh, and
I loved that house so much.
Oh, I love that house so much. And then we saw that house somebody has that house and they were dancing around in my living room and I was so angry.
I know. I just like, that's what was like, oh,
What? That's my bedroom.
I
That's
know. That's so painful,
anyway.
but we are
Grow
with
up.
so millions of people who are in this position right now of having to do this.
Yes.
And we're here to say that it's happened to us, and it's sad and it's hard, but it's necessary for some reason that, to get us out of financial hardship or whatever it is that
absolutely
people have to are forced to do
and
that.
the truth is, it's really important for people to know that people like you, me, or even Melissa, that life is life. It doesn't matter where they think you are, or they think your name is, or they think that you had and part of you is like, look, I'm out there. Sometimes I'm just working because I have to work.
Yes.
And sometimes those choices weren't the best choices.
Yes. So you have to pay your bills.
I have to make them, right?
I made a lot of TV movies that like were, I would have, but it paid the bills, and I'm not biting the hand that feeds. I'm grateful for that I was able to pay the bills, but I think a lot of people assume that people who are actors or in the public eye are all super wealthy and stuff. It's like, I'm grateful for what I have, but I also this is a time that there are a lot of people that are hurting, and my heart goes out to them, and I can relate, I'm not broke, but we're like, it's daily work to be able to be in a world that's gotten more and more expensive,
Right. And I think you get to a certain time in your life that you think, gosh, I'm here and I'm here. We are so thrilled that you came on, but we have kind of run out of time.
Okay. I'll do the thing with Jeremiah that we talked about in the beginning.
Oh, you don't have, you do whatever you want to do.
Oh, okay. I just didn't want to start off with that. I can do that now.
I get it.
Okay, got it. All right. You can do that now. We love you. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for your time.
A blessing.
I love you. I'll be coming to you for my podcast when I get it back up and running.
You got it.
Well,
okay, cool.
Thank you.
Do that thing with Jeremiah and we'll go.
Okay.
We'll get off the
screen. Are you interviewing somebody else right now?
No. We'll come back and we'll do intros and outros.
Okay. Bye. Okay, hon. Nice. Both of you.
That was an amazing conversation. I'm so grateful.
Oh, I'm grateful too. Thank you, honey.
Awesome. Bye.
Thank you.